Welcome back to Dum Dum's 2099, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into a futuristic world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Alyn, Honor System, and Declan have crash-landed onto the moon. Alyn's hut and Billy Fingers Featherfall kept them alive. Honor System collected EVA suits for the team, and Declan calculated the best ways to shoot people in reduced gravity. Can these anti-heroes survive the journey to the Fulfillment Citadel? And what threats are heading towards them on the moon? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099.
The Dum-Dums of Future Past are on the moon, and having successfully found a way to get yourselves some of that tasty oxygen for those of you with squishy meaty lungs and not robot parts, or at least robot lungs, which unfortunately, Declan, you do not have. You managed to suit up and are currently making your way towards what we've dubbed the Tech Hut, one of several hut-like or bubble-like sort of blisters across the surface of the moon, leading to the Fulfillment Citadel, where you will find Jacinda Bezos and the rest of the MFTs, let alone the rest of the executives of the last standing house of the fallen conglomerata. So, having crashed using formerly Leoman's, now Alyn's vaguely cylindrical hut, and with the assistance of Billy Finger's surprising cast of Featherfall, you've made planetfall and are making your way to the tech wing after some awkward bouncing. You managed to make it to the entrance, and the three of you slip inside. Immediately, gravity reasserts itself. And there's kind of like one of those like classic airlock hisses, even though you just kind of moved through like a we described it previously as sort of like Gungan shield wall. You could also be like Stargate material, like just kind of a wobbly water thing that you just step through, and then you're suddenly within atmosphere because I don't know, fucking magic or whatever. It's a large, again, like as everything else, honeycomb shaped enclosure. You can see outside through it. It's kind of got almost a shimmering, almost the equivalent of like an oil slick, kind of shimmering membrane on the glass. So it's clearly blocking like UV light and other shit, but you can see out of it. It's just not perfectly clear. Like, it's not like a crystal clear view. It's just as you move around, you can get a rough view of what's happening outside. Inside, this place is a little bit like Tony Stark's lab in like the original Iron Man, or any of the times where he's like working on a suit. So it's got like a massive gimbaled arm in the center and kind of a bunch of tables with various almost like Adeptus Mechanicus style shit on it. There are racks sort of against the wall, almost like the man, I'm just mixing a ton of sci-fi metaphors, but bear with me. A bunch of almost like Borg recharge chambers that would clearly be used to like power up the suits. And you also see some weaponry that's been disassembled that seems to be, Declan, I think based on your kind of understanding of weapons, what you'd expect from a zero-G environment, or like not a zero-G, but like a low gravity environment. So like definitely like projectile based, sort of like heavy bore, make sure it goes straight, as straight as possible kind of weapons. Obviously still a lack of quantum energy. So you see like one or two disassembled laser rifles, but at this point, those are increasingly rare commodities. You also see some scattered armor bits that you don't fully recognize, but they seem to be, for lack of a better term, well, no, I won't give that to you. You can investigate them or not. I don't care. I don't need to give you everything. You've got stats and dice for that. So there's some scattered armor that looks vaguely unfamiliar. But the good news is, particularly for you, Declan, like this is fucking Toys R Us, where it's cool to be a kid. Like you have so many options here for tooling up both your weaponry and the weaponry of your companions. Mechanically, you have a few options in this space. So the sort of three main options you have, you can upgrade a damage dice on your weapon. You can add an attack with your, if you have I think probably this is only a you thing on our system. You can add an additional attack. I think if we give that to Declan, then it's just like the day is done. But there's enough servo bits kicking around that you could upgrade to an additional attack, or you can take additional damage dice. You can add a +1 to your weapon. So there'll be +1 to hit, +1 to damage. So obviously smaller number, but a guaranteed number, and also increases your odds of hitting. And Alyn, you can forego all of this to reclaim. How many spell slots do you currently have? Or do you have in total, rather?
So it's different depending on what spells I'm using.
Okay, well, in honor of our beloved, I think you should leave, where down here everything is half. You can forego all of this to regain up like half of whatever you've lost. So if you had 2 slots of something, you get 1 slot of it back. So basically you can like regain a bunch of your spells.
Oh, I've only used 1.
Okay, in that case you can get both of your fireballs back.
Wait, I've used 3 of my fireballs. So do I get 1 or 2?
You could get 2 of your 3 back.
Fuck
down here everything is half.
Rounding up.
Rounding up.
Yeah,
and then Misty Step I get.
Yep. Yeah, like it's rounded up to a minimum of 1.
I get to make another tiny hut, maybe?
I'm gonna say that's a ritual, so no.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to get drunk on hut power. Like it's too dangerous.
Loudness.
Last thing, it's funny, we were doing our sound checks, we're like, Alyn doesn't yell. Well, fuck me, I guess.
Lesson learned.
Sorry to yourself. You're the one who
my
edits.
hut.
Yeah. So utility type spells, but again, this is the equivalent of you didn't take healing, so you get shiny things back.
That's nice. Thank you.
So Declan,
I thought that was my last fireball. I was so sad.
Honor system, you'll have to determine which of those upgrades you're after.
Great. I'm imagining Declan will be the guy doing the work. So he's just becomes the NPC in any of those video games where somebody's like, "What you looking to upgrade, friend?" And you have like a certain amount of scraps you can cash it in at the desk with them.
What are you buying?
Yeah, that's
right. Cool. Okay, great. The other thing is you certainly can investigate the space a bit more if you want. There's all sorts of random shit kicking around. It may not necessarily be utility in a weapon way, but you can maybe learn some more about what you're up against. But we can leave that for after you've made your choices.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking, is if this is where shit gets upgraded for combat, can we deduct what opposition forces to expect? But that can come after.
Yeah, system, what do you need me to put in your body before we take a look around? Also, there is unfriendlies incoming. I do not have an ETA, but I saw them launch, so we don't want to fuck around too much. I feel like I can juice you up to make you go faster, or I can make you a little bit stronger. What are you feeling?
I believe that in combat, speed is the deciding factor between who is the winner and who is dead.
All right, let's make the most murderous robot in the history of robots slightly more murderous. So I will do the work to increase his reaction speed. So I'm imagining we're giving him that extra attack.
That's what I'm saying.
And then for myself, Tom, just to make sure I understand, it's either +1 or I add 1 more die of whatever is there.
What is your current damage die?
D10.
All right, so you'd upgrade your D10 to a D12. So you can either get +1 to hit, +1 damage on the regular, or you can upgrade your D10 to a D12, which would be true of however many attacks you take. It just means that rather than a D10, your rifle now does D12.
Yeah, that makes sense. +6, I thought I meant 1 in 20 is 5%. I'm trying to do the math. I think Declan would literally be running the math, which is where I'm
honestly, I know someone listening at home is doing it too, so it's good. It's
good.
This is what they and you are here for.
I usually go to TTRPG Reddit for the final say on how this shit works. I do not do the work myself whenever I'm looking at like damage builds and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. If you can't actually hit the target, it doesn't entirely matter how much you fucking hurt them. So he looks at the like extra jagged rounded hands and he's like, I gotta put it into the sight because look at these fucking eyes. He just like looks at the reflection. He's like, "You beautiful bastards, we're gonna kill everything." He'll take the +1 across the board, so that'll be
cool.
My boy.
That makes sense to me. And then Alyn, you're I assume taking your spell slots back.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, I don't really have. Look, my spells are my weapons.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. And I also need you all to roll initiative, please.
Wait, what? 17 plus 2 is 19.
Alan's
Jesus Christ.
I like that you cut me off to do the math on what your total
I didn't
was.
mean to cut you off. I just saw 17. I'm like, and then my brain went, oh yeah, you gotta add stuff.
Your Northern Ontario brain. Oh yeah.
Laura's got a brain that does a lot of math.
Wait, did we just become a quarter gas TTRPG podcast? There's not a lot going on. Declan, what was yours?
Laura's
13?
brain just the smartest like climate change expert to ever appear on Corner Gas. Oh yeah, we're gonna have trouble.
That's a real quaint way of putting
In
it.
this episode, Brett Butt has to determine whether or not to turn the gas station into a Tesla charging station.
Oh, I don't like that Elon Musk.
Guest starring Paul Gross as Elon Musk in.
Just try. It just takes like a day to explain that climate isn't weather, and that's it. Anyways, continue.
But you know what it is? Gravity. Gravity is weather.
I mean,
Brian,
this is from the woman who argued walls were kind of weather in a previous episode.
But what was your initiative there, sir?
I was 12.
I'd written you down
12.
as 13. Oh, man. All right, well, congratulations, Declan, because I wrote in pen, you're now at 13, and obviously you're at 12.
That's how you get fast. Other people just don't pay fucking attention.
Yeah, I do my initiative like I do my crossword puzzles with no regrets. All right, so Alyn, you're up first. So Declan
Up against
has warned,
what?
Well, that's an interesting question,
actually a
Laura.
really
I'm
good
glad you asked.
The hut.
Declan has warned you that there are bogeys incoming, as it were, but they aren't.
Oh, right.
You can't see them. They're very far away. So although you, the player, are aware you're in initiative order, you don't see anything just yet. However, you do hear an announcement come on, and suddenly the inky sort of like I was gonna say fabric, Jesus. This sort of inky material coagulates away from Faerun. So you can still see the planet like way the fuck away.
Yeah.
But that basically behind you turns black and then to silver. And then you behold the marvelous, glorious case of glass holding the one and only Jacinda Bezos as a massive, like, think similar to the way Ryan described, like the first contact helmets, like it's, or the really it's based on the Hellboy like RPD guy who's just like gas in a helmet, but just like a giant glass, imperious looking helmet. Bit of a Cobra Commander thing going on. There's just a swarm of fucking bees in there. It's like Nick Cage's worst nightmare in this thing. And of course, it's got a shiny dome on top, and is wearing a sort of like a weird, very much like Dr. Evil style like jumpsuit situation in the Amazon colors. And at the bottom it says like Jacinda Bezos. Comma CEO, like just one of those classic like I got this from like iMovie kind of inserts, and he just says, "Greetings, employees. It is I, the great Jeff Bezos, and it is an honor to host you here upon the Fulfillment Citadel. Now that all of our new MFTs have come along with our executives, it is time to begin phase 1 of our glorious and very efficient rebuild of the hive known as Faerun. Behold all the efforts of your labors, which of course mostly benefit bee." And then he laughs, which is just the bees like scattering around really fast, and there's no real sound to it other than buzzing. But you can tell that this weird undulating mass of bees in his face is the best he can do.
Alyn searches her memory to like, was Faerun ever a hive?
I mean, no.
I mean, I hate to admit it, that voice is simultaneously more annoying and yet less annoying than I had expected from a bunch of bees inside a jar. Like, you understand him in a way that I didn't think you would from a man who built a giant blue cock rocket.
At which point the ground beneath you trembles, and these tremors become worse and worse, and things begin like rattling off the side. That one gimbaled arm is like catching things, but it can only get one thing at a time, so it's like losing most stuff. Suddenly, the mess that you see around here kind of makes sense. And as you watch, the entire moon's surface trembles, and you begin to see just like moon dust begin to float upward, just drift slowly up. And then all of a sudden, with the force of a planetary sneeze, the moon undulates, and you see sort of as sort of zoomed in viewport parts appear around you on this sort of like massive screen dome, massive packages being launched out of the center of the moon, sort of that sort of massive gaping hole you saw carved. And as they begin to rocket down, suddenly, like, you know, those 3D architecture pictures that like people always put on sites where they demolish like a bunch of really nice houses in a beautiful neighborhood and they're just like, fuck that, we're going to build this instead. Those start to show up, but of sites around Faerun. And Bezos continues sort of unabated, saying, as you can see, the first of our brand new primer hoods have been launched. Soon we will remake Faerun in our image, more efficient and all in service of the great Imazoon hive. GG all, GG. More primer hoods to launch soon. Perhaps we should warn those down below. And then his like face rattles again. And he says, or not. At which point the screen clicks off. And even though the video screens can't follow these things all the way, you realize based on the size of thing that just came out of the center of the moon, he's dropping prefab cities on the planet. So if you don't stop him soon, he is literally going to quite literally rebuild Faerun in his image.
Well, I mean, they don't give out trophies for killing people, which I find personally offensive. But I think if you get him, you get a fucking big one.
I was already determined to kill him for the things he has done. The fact that I'm going to kill him now and stop him from doing this is a bonus.
The plan hasn't changed. I'm just even more upset. So...
All right, everybody do like a quick look around a space. I mean, lightning fast for anything that's going to help us do shit. And then we got to get the fuck out of here. Or apparently he's going to flatten all the cities with other cities.
Great. So Declan, you are up.
Great.
We're in initiative order. But why?
I will scan the space quickly for shit that looks important. If there's anything that stands out, then he'd look at that. But this is the like, look through the pile. I don't see anything. Get the fuck out of here.
All right. So then, Ryan, do you want to do an investigation or like a streetwise for this?
Would you buy a perception on just stuff that looks like it stands out?
Yeah. Okay. I'd buy a perception. Sure.
Otherwise, I could go with
no, perception's fine. That makes sense because it is just a quick, like, as you described it, you're just literally scanning the room as quickly as you can, which I think kind of falls into the realm of like, if you're looking for traps, you would use perception. So this is looking for like nice traps, gift
26.
Traps. 26. All right. So aside from what you've kind of already found, I think you find a couple of sort of like odd nano patch type things that I think you use to help Alyn. Like they're basically stim packs, so like to just jack Alyn up and give you back your spells. You find with a 26, which is actually very, very good, obviously. You find 3 of the health kit nano patch things you've been chowing down on, just kind of scattered amidst the debris. And looking quickly, you can tell there is a mix of EVA, because I remember from last time, EVA armor, but like actual armor, not like suits for doing repairs like what you and Alyn are wearing. But there also seem to be, for lack of a better term, like Walmart or Amazon basics, if you will, versions of Ronin droids. So a lot cheaper, a lot faster, dirtier, easier to make, but that have been modified, presumably for operations on the moon, which makes sense given that like having something that doesn't breathe outside is always going to trump like, hey, you want to take your life in your hands to go like fucking change a lug nut? Yeah, you basically find bits of robot, which I think we'll say you've like those are the parts now you recognize like, okay, this is what you use to tool a system. But it looks like you'll be up against a mix of organic and inorganic troops.
Great, we got robots and we got fucking people and they're all going to be armored. This is delightful. He'll just go and take up position kind of looking out the door, rifle at the ready.
Great.
If somebody's coming, keep
Can you roll me perception, please?
Yes. 16.
Okay, you do that. Honor system, you are up.
Yeah. I think it's about locating an exit and staying on the move now.
Okay,
So
can you roll me a perception, please?
Yeah. Not super good on the die. +1. 7 perception.
Okay. So you move to the exit with Declan. Alyn, since you're top of the round, it'll be up to you to kind of move up to join them.
Okay.
So we're at top of the round. Alyn, what do you do? Okay. Also, can you roll me perception?
Perception? Yeah. That is 21.
As you move to join them, you see a glint kind of catch your eye. And it's a little bit like if you see like someone with binoculars or a scope in the distance and like the sun hits it.
Yeah.
So you turn and you kind of like track it with your eye very quickly, just like casually kind of wondering what could draw your eye that way. And you realize that the Zeus cannon has turned and is currently facing this very hut.
And there's nothing connecting us like the huts right now, right?
No.
They're going to be connected later?
Yeah. There's like track that's been laid, but like most large scale transit situations, none of us live to see it complete.
Okay. Yeah. And I just yell, cannon is on us, run.
Right. I'll follow that.
There's no fucking time to
we're
lose.
in initiative order. All right. So, Alyn, I assume you're going to run like book it outside.
Yeah.
Movement.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So as soon as you pass through the Stargate curtain, I'm gonna need a dex save, please. As suddenly, the cruel mistress Gravity Weather grabs you yet again.
17.
17. Okay, so having struggled with this a bit, you actually succeed this time in
got my moon legs, baby.
Yeah, you got your moon legs. That's very good. So you are one. You're kind of in the. I'm doing these in segments, or in I guess other like in Genesis parlance, it'd be like rings or whatever. The in terms of distance. So you've made like one segment of success. Away from Techwing. Inside, Bezos's head appears yet again. This time with Alyn's mother, kind of imperiously over his shoulder, and he just is doing the stupid laughing bee thing, and she just says. Honestly, this really is more of a hassle than anything, but the nice thing about having a self-replicator downstairs is we can just rebuild more of these technological huts. But you, my friends, have been a thorn in our side long enough. So, as they say back down on Faerun, get fucked. And the cannon lights up, and the it's doing the Death Star coils powering up thing as we move to Declan.
Right, Declan didn't hear that speech. They started talking. Declan's fucking gone. Let him monologue. It can give you a few extra breaths. So what do you need from me? I think it's reflex.
Reflex, and I believe we said no penalty for you because you're
the lighter suit.
Lightweight suit. Yeah.
Oh, nat 1. So just eat shit. There you go.
Yep. So
I should have listened to that speech.
Yeah. So as you book it out the door, unfortunately, there's Alyn in Bioshock suit-sized footprints in the moon dust, and you trip. Also, the moon dust that lifted off the surface is slowly drifting back down, but it's not like Earth where Superman comes back to life and the dirt comes off the ground and just falls down. It's it's just drifting. So there's also just a lot of interference for you as you make your way out. So unfortunately, with a 1, you trip at the door.
Fucking shit! Give me 1 gravity or the fucking other. None of this transition crap. It could be light everywhere. Fucking assholes.
I gotta pick Declan up, and we're moving together.
Okay. So I'm gonna need a probably a strength. No, there's no strength. Let's go with fortitude save, please.
Fortitude, which I believe translates to Constitution on my sheet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you should have a stat specifically for it.
In the little saving throws, it's listed.
Yeah, you might just have more than your pure con.
I don't actually.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
I can use con.
Yeah, let's use con. I also don't feel like you'd have huge advantage to this because you're. Yeah. It's not your prime stat.
It's a total of 9.
9. Okay, so in being flooded with human emotion as you attempt to hoist Declan, you don't have a tremendous amount of success. You kind of struggle. You get him up, but unfortunately, the two of you cannot move. Which brings us to the top of the round, and the cannon opens fire. Now, the good news is that if they fired this thing at full capacity, they would blow up the moon and kill themselves as well as all of their evil schemes. So they're very much firing this thing on like they're not charging the meter all the way up. They're just doing little burst shots. Still devastating, but very much you don't have to worry about this thing being a city's block worth of destruction or a Nair Frost level of destruction, because that would kill them too. But the cannon opens fire. So Declan and Honor System, you guys are very much in the line of fire here. What I need from both of you, please. The good news is you're both on your feet for this, but I need a reflex save as you basically, cool guys don't look at explosion slow-mo jump in the bad gravity to kind of see how much distance you make before the tech hut goes up.
I got a 12. So good.
I also got a 12. Again.
Aww.
This thematically makes sense, though, with you picking me up.
Husband numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Men who get blown up together stay together in pieces. All right. So from the blast, that is going to be 13 points of damage as the hut is kind of blown apart behind you. It is not an exact science, so it's you're shielded a little bit by it, but you are blasted forward. You kind of stumble up alongside Alyn, make it to your feet, and the three of you are in segment 1. Now, the danger is if you stay out here, they can just drag this thing
right
in a line. If you get to another hut, they'll have to realign it to refire. So you will have time in the next hut, but you basically can't stay outside for very long. So next up is the meat lab. It is
quick question, Tom. Just because is that ballistics damage for damage resistance purposes?
This would be explosive, so probably not. I mean,
Okay.
In terms of how your armor works, Ryan, do you read ballistics as like?
It's like damage resistance ballistic, but we also have ballistic damage written in pistol. So if an explosion, then it's not, because we dealt with that, which is like special rounds are piercing. So we're good.
Perfect.
Yeah. I just wanted to check. Cool.
That was a good clarification note. And also I wasn't sure because in some of these games I find they just kind of group all damage that could be like anything that hits you is ballistic, anything that like XYZ other thing isn't. So that's cool. Okay. So yes, unfortunately.
Tom,
yeah.
Sorry, asking for no reason related to this at all. Would Alyn have known that Butthole is back? That he didn't die in the Kraken?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, you've been kicking it at. I don't think you've talked to anyone since you got to.
I don't think so either.
It'd only be if Butthole sent out the letters and one was received when he announced himself as being alive or whatever with the fortress, but I don't know if they sent that.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you would have sent one to Not Pete and Strahd, but I think, I mean, Alyn, you've been kind of like up your own ass about studying. I don't know that you would have made contact with anyone, so I think we can safely say no. Okay. Also, I don't know that Butthole would know how to send something to Borovia.
He would need advice.
Yeah, like, so if, like, I guess I'm kind of curious, like, are you hoping he can bring people back if they die?
What?
Yeah, okay.
What?
Good to know. I was just curious. Okay, Laura, I think what I might say is you may not know if Butthole's back, but you do know that you have communication capability to, at the very least, Quinny, Juniper, and Reginald, and like they might have a solution to death by now that doesn't exist here, if that's what you're thinking about. But no, I don't. Okay. I don't think you would think Butthole's there. Also, like the odds of Butthole helping Declan are very slim, very very slim.
You know you're in a Hail Mary zone when you're like, who can save me?
Yeah.
Reginald.
Yeah.
Get me, Bucky.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, no reason. Okay, so you're all standing together. The cannon is like clear and present danger. You get the sense that they can scooch it a few inches in any direction, but they can't they can't just streak it across the sky. So if you can get far enough away, they'll have to realign to fire. The three of you together, what do you do?
How far away is the cannon?
It is in orbit around the moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But how far away is orbit?
Yeah,
is it within 650 feet? I would like to snipe the gunner of the Zeus cannon.
Are we just going full don't look up and you're just going to be like fucking Ron Perlman out there just shooting at the sky screaming?
Can you imagine? Yeah, it's 150 feet away for my purposes, and it's just like orbiting like so fucking fast you can't even see it in order to maintain altitude.
Yeah, it's in space. It's being controlled from the surface of the moon. But
yep, that's reasonable.
Are we still in turn order, or is it kind of up?
We are still in turn order,
whatever,
because the turn order will determine when the cannon fires next.
Okay, so we're on
Alyn. You're up first. Yeah.
I think I have to consult the guys. Hey,
fucking run!
Where to? As
towards the fucking citadel. Not away from our goal. It's not funny. We're all going to die, but it's kind of a funny question.
Fucking obviously, and she dashes.
That's so fucking commissar.
At obviously, again, like honor system doesn't emote with the visor a lot, right? It's normally just a black faceplate, but he does look to Declan, who we've just been like thrown forward by the blast of this thing, and just a massive fucking question mark on his face.
Oh, yeah. fucking ditto. That's all Declan says in return.
All right, so Alyn, I need a reflex save at disadvantage, please.
Jesus fucking Christ. She just wants to know if they have any other ideas. Fucking hell. 15.
15. Okay. So
Obviously fucking anyways.
one small
This is
step
what
for
she's
Alyn.
thinking to herself. Obviously I'm fucking right.
You realize we can hear you over the fucking radio, right? Like it's there for when you talk really quiet. It's not just you.
And you leap forward. So I think like we'll kind of see what each of your initiatives do. But like right now we've just got like slow-mo boot jump, like Mario and low gravity, Alyn running. Declan.
Tom, just so I can picture, how big is the blast zone of this thing? Is it like a tech hut worth? I'm trying to figure out if there's value in us splitting up to go in slightly different directions. Will that get us around it, or are we all just going to get tagged because we're close?
You'll get tagged if it's close enough to just scooch towards you. Like it's a big old like end of a Marvel movie, shoot it to the sky level beam thing. Yeah.
Great, then let's just fucking run. That's his plan.
All right.
Get the fuck out of here.
So go ahead. No advantage or disadvantage. Just normal. Just a
All right,
normal
that
roll.
is a 23.
Oh hell yeah, baby. So having got squarely roasted, I think you just like compress your whole body and just spring. And just launch forward. And honor system.
Oh, actually, Tom, I
sorry.
would also like to use my bonus action to dash because I've got cunning actions. So when he fucking moves, I fucking love the good gravity. No transitions. He just yells as he boots it past Alyn. Beeline directly past her.
Alan is also dashing.
He's Mario Kart double dashing.
Yeah, I get to move and then dash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Fair
He
enough.
gets a Rendar level of dash.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my God, Tom.
I hate myself. All right.
Yay!
All right. So, Ryan, you make it to the meat lab, and honor system. What do?
It may shock you to know that I would like to dash.
Holy shit! What?
Curious though if I want to just move regular speed and use an action to cover us, but I think we'll just make a dash for it.
Okay.
I think that's what I'll do.
So go ahead, and you also are rolling just a clean die, no advantage or disadvantage.
Instead of meat lab, I had meat loop written down, and I don't know what that would be.
Well, that's because the Uber
Maybe
Hyperloop.
not. I'm like, what's a meat loop?
Well, meat loop is like the world's worst
out.
sausage. It just doesn't connect.
Did honor system have advantage that was carrying forwards on gravity checks?
I don't think
He
so.
lost the disadvantage going
That was
forward.
it. Got it.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yep.
Oh, okay. What am I adding to this roll?
This would be it's a reflex save, so your dexterity and I believe
Okay.
in your case proficiency.
Well, it's a 15 on the die, and then plus dex
So
is
you're
20,
modified.
and then 24 if
Yep.
we're throwing proficiency in.
So together, like you and Declan and honor system just kind of like book it past Alyn. I assume like grabbing the giant slow suit as you go.
Up under the arms. Yep. Here we go.
Right. And you see the massive like fiery beam behind you, just like scooching after you, like the round is over in Fortnite. And eventually it's just over halfway to where you've gotten to, sort of fizzles down. It continues to track you like a magnifying glass burning the earth, but like there just isn't any juice, and you can see the coils like venting in space and starting to power back up, but it's not like a rapid fire thing. Like they gotta recharge it and refire it. So you do have a little bit more time, which is obviously beneficial. As you approach the meat lab. So the meat lab from the outside is completely opaque. You can't see through it, unlike the sort of tech hut. And it does have clearly, like, even from the outside, you can see a lot of kind of solar array type stuff built around it. clearly drawing power, a tremendous amount of power, while also being very careful and delicate about the amount of light that gets in. You don't hear anything at the entrance because you're in space and you can't hear anything. But also, I assume like a quick look, like these places have clearly been abandoned. There don't seem to be any staff. Declan, did you want to take a look for the jump troopers before you go in?
Yeah, I think Declan, if he's going into a new environment, he's the guy who's like rifle up, assume it's a hostile territory. Like what
Sorry,
he would
I meant
do
outside rather than inside. Like, would you try?
Yeah. He would take a like this is all. We know we're getting hammered and we know they're going to fight dirty. So it's just every way like, where are troopers? Yes, 100%.
Great. So can you roll me a perception, please, with advantage, I think, because there's not a lot to look at out here. And they may be, jet black to merge into the sky, but they also have like fucking rockets on them. So
28.
Okay. So you can see that they have sort of like they kind of have to hop this. They can't just like they've got a bit of the Mandalorian problem where their packs won't like can't like zip around in the sky. They kind of have to like book it to a place. So you can see them kind of stacked up almost like gargoyles on the executive housing pod, which is like a different shape and size and construction than the ones you've seen so far. And then kind of all of them are like one by one blasting off of that and kind of starting to make their way towards the meat lab, but they're very far away still. And the issue is they also don't necessarily know where you are. Like they just saw the tech wing go up, but they don't know if you would have gone back, if you would have gone to the med bay. So it's not like everyone is converging like it's like a video game with bad AI where like the minute you fire a gun, everyone in the level is like, he's over there. It's like they're starting to scatter a little bit. They aren't entirely certain of where you are.
Great. Yeah, he'll just keep tracking that on an ongoing basis. When they get into range, he can start shooting. This is also his heaven because they won't be able to hear him start shooting. So people will just disappear from their team, which is how he likes to work.
Yeah, it's just the old alien tracker, right? Where it's just like, oh, that dot went away. That's weird. Oh no, that other dot went away. Oh no, that dot was Gary.
Yeah, he just looks down and pats the silencer in his pocket and then just like chuckles to himself. And back to the meat loop.
Awesome. The world's worst sausage. So the three of you step inside the meat lab. And immediately you get indicators that there is atmosphere in here. And immediately your headsets fog up. It is so humid in here that it's like stepping into like a jungle greenhouse type effect in here. So just you're immediately like heat sensors are going off, your masks immediately kind of fog over, and behind you like a door actually does close. This isn't just a Stargate curtain, and you had to walk through two but they're Star Trek style quick action doors. They're not like ponderous nightmare doors, but to make sure that not too much of the that this delicate atmosphere is being maintained. Alyn and Declan, would you take your helmets off, or would you just try and wipe them with a little fingy?
Declan still has one more emergency like slam on face thing, so he would pull the helmet. He'd pull the helmet,
and you
off.
can put those helmets back on. Like these aren't like a one use thing.
But he's not risking bad visibility in a room. He can't do it.
Alyn,
Alyn would take her cue from Declan.
Cool. That makes sense.
Then he would hold up a finger, pull his off first.
Yeah.
Then waver through if he doesn't pass out.
It smells gross in here, but very much of that like heavy vegetation, but also of like raw meat. Like if you've opened like a pack of meat that's just like on the edge. So just kind of not the smell of like a butcher shop or anything, but just kind of that weird like styrofoam pack smell. Like, ooh, no, maybe this has been in here too long.
Alyn just gets flashbacks to Butthole farting into her mouth to bring her back to life.
Yeah, this is who you wanted to call, right?
This is the guy you wanted, yeah.
Yeah. So inside, this space is set up similarly to the tech hut. It is larger. I would say it's like a half larger, because down here everything is half. So if the last one was like a size 1, this is a 1.5. So larger space. And it is think like Poison Ivy's lab in the seminal superhero film Batman and Robin. So just like weird fucking plants everywhere. There are vats, like a number of Resident Evil style vats of things sort of floating in liquid all around. And then along the sort of behind the vegetation lining two of the walls, it almost looks like a slide deck, back when slides were real things, not now when that just means a digital program you click through, or like the doors from Monsters Inc. Like there's just a bunch of things hanging, and you can see a bunch of robotic arms quickly running, and you realize that there are essentially like 3D printers printing meat in these slides and kind of lining them up, and then like the little arms are like spritzing them down. There's an episode of Doctor Who where they determine the last human is just a stretched face on a board, and it's kind of almost that kind of shit, except if it was raw meat. So there's like little hands like spritzing and cleaning and like cutting off parts that are like growing badly, and you can basically tell like this seems to be the space that they use to feed the citadel. There is a on the north end. There is kind of like carved out of this space, so there aren't plants and things hanging over this directly. There's like a very well lit, sort of like small, almost chamber that seems to have kind of like two large arms attached to a gimbal on top that seem like they can spin. So think almost, when you go to the airport and they've got those like TSA machines that scan your body rather than like the beep boop wand, something kind of like that. Behind you, as you've kind of come in, or sort of off to your right, is a large table that seems to be set like a dining room table, and there are a variety of like plates and platters, and beyond it, just kind of a very well lit wall of little sconces with all sorts of different samples in it. So clearly kind of a place where you can reconstruct different meals and kind of see if they're to your liking. There are a number of notebooks and things scattered around. In classic sci-fi fashion, there's just like charts on the wall of like various wildlife from Faerun, and then also just like, Beautiful Mind style scribbling about like how make taste like this. So clearly a fairly intense operation up here, but also kind of in that classic, like, how do we make fake meat taste like, real meat on the moon kind of situation. And then at the very far end of the habitat, of course, another door that leads out. That said, as soon as you take your helmets off, Declan, you are happy to learn that you can breathe the air, even though it is breathing humidity, which is always kind of gross. As soon as you do that, immediately an alarm klaxon goes off, and the door behind you seals. And you just hear a robot voice that sounds disturbingly like Alexa in our world for reasons that have nothing to do with any particular corporation whatsoever. Just say, foreign contaminants detected. Locking down meat lab. Foreign contaminants detected. Locking down meat lab. Please send supervisor. Play country, and then country music just starts blaring through speakers. Because as you know, Alexa never quite gets it right. Yeah. So to the sound of 2099 country music, which presumably is like played on electric guitars because it's the future. They all had quantum energy, so country was very very high tech. The space around you seals. The door slams shut, and judging from the rough estimation, Declan, that you made of how long the cannon took to charge up and how long it took to fire, it's not going to be long before it or the jump troopers find you. So before then, you got to figure out how the fuck to get out of the meat lab.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099 features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra. The system we're playing is Carbon 2185, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are Core Collapse and Sanctuary of the Sky Gods by Nathaniel Yaverne, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do future things before we return for the next episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Sammy Boy, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alyn, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, Shulzari, Christian Mendez, Spot Allen, Flynn 1138, Alarain Okapi, and Jillian Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.